New York is about to become a war zone again. Two kings from different streets are walking into the same city, carrying old blood, unfinished business, and enemies who never forgot their names. Power legacy does not begin with peace. It begins with a warning. Because when Tommy and Tariq return to New York, the past will not stay buried, and the future will be written in violence. Power legacy opens at the most dangerous moment in the Power universe. The Chicago War is finally over, but the damage it caused is far from finished. Tommy is leaving behind a city full of ghosts, broken alliances, and bodies that never got justice. New York is calling him back, not as a hero, but as a man who has learned one truth the hard way. Survival always comes with a price. At the same time, Tariq is standing at the edge of his own empire, smarter than ever, colder than before, and more willing to do whatever it takes to win. When these two paths cross again, it will not be about friendship. It will be about control. Episode 1 sets the tone immediately. This is not a fresh start. This is a continuation of unfinished stories. Tommy returns to the city where everything began for him, a place that still remembers Ghost, still remembers Cannon, and still remembers blood. The streets have changed, but the rules have not. Power still belongs to those who are willing to take it. Tommy knows this, and that is why his first move is not loud. It is careful. He understands that New York is already divided between powerful groups who will not welcome him easily. His presence alone will disturb the balance, and that makes him a target from the very first moment. Meanwhile, Tariq is trying to build something bigger than what Ghost left behind. He does not want to repeat his father's mistakes. He wants to be smarter, cleaner, and more untouchable. But power never stays clean for long. Tariq's biggest problem in Episode 1 is not money or enemies. It is trust. Every person around him has their own agenda, and every deal he makes carries a hidden risk. He knows that the moment Tommy steps back into New York, everything will change. Tommy does not play the same game Tariq plays. Tommy does not hide behind plans and lawyers. He moves with instinct and rage. That difference alone is enough to create tension between them. The episode slowly builds toward their reunion, not as a celebration, but as a confrontation of ideas. Tommy believes fear is the strongest weapon. Tariq believes intelligence is the key to winning. Both men think they are right, and both are dangerous in their own way. Their partnership is not based on loyalty. It is based on necessity. New York is too big for one king, and too violent for two separate wars. If they do not work together, they will be destroyed separately. But power legacy is not only about them. Episode 1 makes it clear that old enemies are watching. People from Chicago, who lost everything, are not done seeking revenge. New York gangs who hear Tommy's name will see opportunity instead of danger. And deep in the background, a shadow from the past begins to move again. A name that should be dead. A legend that refuses to stay buried. The rumor of Ghost's return spreads like poison through the streets, creating fear, hope, and chaos at the same time. No one knows if it is real. But in the Power universe, rumors kill just as easily as bullets. By the end of the first section of the story, one thing is certain. Power legacy is not about rebuilding. It is about takeover. It is about two men stepping into a city that already belongs to someone else and daring the world to stop them. Episode 1 does not promise peace. It promises war. And the first move has already been made. As Episode 1 continues, the pressure around Tommy and Tariq begins to rise from every direction. New York does not welcome them with open arms. It tests them. The city already has powerful players who control territory, money routes, and protection systems. These groups do not see Tommy and Tariq as partners. They see them as invaders. Every move they make is being watched. Every meeting they take becomes a risk. This is the point where power legacy shows its true theme. Nothing in this city is free, and every step forward creates a new enemy. Tommy understands this immediately. He knows New York is not Chicago. The streets are tighter, the politics are deeper, and the betrayals are smarter. Instead of rushing into violence, he chooses patience. But patience does not mean weakness. It means planning. He begins by reconnecting with old contacts, people who survived the original Power era and still remember what it means when the name St. Patrick is whispered in fear. These connections do not trust easily. Too much blood has been spilled in the past. But they listen because Tommy's return signals that something big is coming. Tariq, on the other hand, is fighting a different battle. He is trying to build an operation that looks clean on the surface but moves dirty underneath. His focus is control through business, not bullets. He wants structures, systems, and legal covers. But episode 1 shows how fragile that plan really is. Every business deal brings new questions. Every partner brings hidden danger. Tariq starts to realize that New York's criminal world is not impressed by intelligence alone. It respects power that can be felt. And power in this city is proven through pain. The tension between Tommy and Tariq grows as their methods begin to clash. Tommy believes the city needs to fear them before it can respect them. Tariq believes fear brings chaos, and chaos attracts law enforcement. Their arguments are not emotional. They are strategic. Each man is trying to protect his own vision of the future. But deep down, both know they cannot survive alone. Their enemies are too many, and the streets are too hungry. Then the first real threat appears. A group connected to Chicago makes its presence known. They are not loud. They do not announce themselves. Instead, they send a message. It is personal. It is cruel. And it proves that the past followed Tommy to New York. This moment changes everything. What was supposed to be a careful start turns into a warning. The war never ended. It only changed cities. At the same time, whispers about Ghost begin to grow stronger. People start asking dangerous questions. Was he really dead? Did he fake his death to escape the chaos? Or is someone using his name as a weapon? The idea alone is enough to shake the balance of power. Ghost was not just a man. He was a symbol. And symbols do not die easily. For Tariq, this rumor is more than fear. It is confusion. If Ghost is alive, then everything he believed about his past is a lie. And if Ghost is not alive, then someone is trying to control the city using his shadow. Episode 1 slowly turns from strategy into survival. Alliances are tested before they are fully formed. Enemies reveal themselves without showing their faces. The city becomes a chessboard where every move costs something. Tommy realizes that New York will not give him time to settle in. Tariq realizes that his dream of running things quietly is already falling apart. And somewhere in the middle of this storm, a third force is rising, one that neither of them fully understands yet. By the end of this section, Power Legacy makes one thing clear. This story is not about who will win. It is about who will last. The streets are preparing for a new king, but they are also preparing for new funerals. Episode 1 is no longer about arrival. It is about survival. And the worst danger has not even shown its face yet. The final part of Episode 1 pushes Power Legacy into its darkest direction. What started as strategy and tension now turns into open danger. The city makes its decision. Tommy and Tariq are no longer just visitors. They are threats. And threats must be tested. A trap is set, not to kill them, but to measure them. Someone wants to see how they react under pressure. Someone wants to know which one of them will break first. Tommy feels it before it happens. He has lived too long in war to ignore the signs. The streets are too quiet. The faces around him are too calm. He knows this peace is fake. And when the attack finally comes, it is fast and ruthless. This is not random violence. It is a message. New York is telling him that power here is already owned, and taking it will cost blood. Tommy responds the only way he knows how, with force. His reaction is not emotional. It is calculated. He makes it clear that he is not afraid to burn everything down if he has to. Tariq faces a different kind of danger. His world starts closing in on him from the legal side. Pressure begins to rise from authorities who sense movement in the underworld. His clean image becomes fragile. One mistake could destroy everything he built. This is where Tariq realizes that intelligence alone will not protect him. His father once believed he could live between two worlds. Tariq now sees how impossible that really is. To survive, he must fully accept the darkness he has been avoiding. Their paths finally meet at the most critical moment. Not as friends, not as enemies, but as men forced into the same corner. They understand that the city is playing them against each other. If they divide, they will fall. If they unite, they might stand a chance. This is where Power Legacy shows its true meaning. It is not about legacy as inheritance. It is about legacy as burden. Both men are carrying the weight of Ghost, Canon, and every mistake that came before them. They are not free. They are trapped inside the history of the streets. Then comes the moment that changes everything. The rumor becomes more than a rumor. A sign appears. Not a full reveal, but enough to shake the foundation of the story. A place connected to Ghost opens its doors again. A symbol from the past returns to life. And suddenly, the impossible feels possible. If Ghost is alive, then the game is no longer about control. It is about truth. If Ghost is dead, then someone is trying to wear his name like armor. Either way, the city is about to explode. The final minutes of Episode 1 are not about answers. They are about fear. Fear of what is coming. Fear of what has returned. And fear of what Tommy and Tariq might become if they fully embrace the war ahead of them. Their alliance is formed not with trust, but with necessity. They do not promise loyalty. They promise survival. Power Legacy ends its first episode by closing the door on peace. New York is no longer a fresh start. It is a battlefield. Old enemies are moving closer. New villains are rising from the shadows. And the past is knocking louder than ever before. This is not a story about redemption. It is a story about domination. The city will not choose its king. The king will be the one who is still standing when the smoke clears. And as the screen fades, one truth remains. Power never dies. It only changes hands.